Hey everyone, it's 2 days after the marathon that's just finished. So I ran the Perth Marathon October 12th, which is a Sunday, and I just want to give my thoughts on the day. I think it was quite normal. I didn't sleep at all. I wanted to go to bed early. I did go to bed early, I just didn't sleep, which actually ended up being a good thing because I was worried I wouldn't wake up and hear my alarms because the intended time was waking up at 3 a.m. because the start time is at 6. So luckily I didn't sleep because I had no issue getting up at 3. First thing I did was had my morning coffee, then had my morning coffee, post-morning coffee business, which was good. Got that out of the way, had my 2 bagels with peanut butter and jam, and I had a 320 Morton electrolyte carb mix, which was good. So mixed that with some orange juice and some water. Luckily I had all my stuff prepared. I was ready to go. Had my race day kit, my shoes, socks, everything. I already had my bib pinned to my shirt, my singlet. That preparation was awesome. Made sure everything was charged, and it just made for a smooth start to the day. So because it was so early, I felt I would drive to the train station, but the train station, like I think 2 stops away from Optus Stadium, which was where the start and finish line was. Luckily, I could park the car, which was awesome because it only took me 15 minutes to drive there. And then 2 stops later, I was at Optus Stadium and I was walking in, and that moment was absolutely nuts. Like even just the fact that I was about an hour and a half or hour 15 minutes before the start time, it was so good getting there early because it meant I could go straight to the loo, do what I need to do, and yeah, it was a really good feeling because like the earlier the better, because it meant I could start stretching or warming up and then stretching and just getting my legs moving. I felt like if I was rushing, I wouldn't be able to enjoy the morning. My heart rate would be up and it would make for a horrible day. Getting there early was awesome because I could look at the stadium, I could look at the people, high five some people, just get really, I don't know, just get my mind right and get myself ready. So I did. Eventually, we had to assemble at 5:45, so 15 minutes before the start time, which was the 6 a.m. start time. And I was in my group, I think it was wave 2 or wave 2, which is between 3 hours and 4 hour estimated finish time, sorry. When the gun went off and it was ready to rock and roll, I made sure my watch was synced up and ready to go, the GPS was ready, and once I went past that start line, I just kept telling myself, do not go too fast. Stick to your pace, or stick to a pace slower just so you can increase it or speed up a little bit later on, but just don't go too fast. So I actually did. I couldn't believe it, but I did. So for the first 2 Ks, I actually went 20 seconds slower. Then I get to K3 and I kind of was thinking like, I'm just gonna go straight into my marathon pace and just see how I go from here. As of K, I think 8, I started feeling tightness in my left hamstring and it was starting to feel a little bit sore and it was really bugging me out. I just kept moving like 1 foot after the other. I stuck to that pace and just was holding on. Maybe like mind over matter. But I did have my electrolytes, I did have my fuel sources and my Morton energy gels. I had a few things ready to go. So I definitely was prepared. I just don't know why I was feeling that. I go from about 8 Ks to, I want to say like 15, 16 Ks, and I'm still holding onto my marathon pace. Everything's going quite well, but that little pain is still there, but it's not enough for me to stop. So I just tell myself, okay, all I gotta do is get to the half marathon and everything will improve from there. I'm making sure I'm taking advantage of the water stations. So I had no idea if I was going to hit a wall. I was making sure I had my energy gels ready to go, and I was timing them when I needed to have them. I also thought like how amazing the crowd was, because the spectators are really like the best people. Like I can't believe how amazing they are. But despite me being in pain, like every so often I'd like high five somebody, fist bump someone, and it kind of just kept me going. So that was pretty cool. I then get to the half marathon, so up to 21 Ks, and then I'm like, all I gotta do is get to 30 Ks and everything will get easier, because at that point there's just 12 Ks to go, and I've done 12 Ks thousands of times. So I finally get to the 30K mark, and I am holding on to that marathon pace for dear life. I am feeling my calf tighten up, my hamstrings flaring up, and at this point I decided to take pickle juice because I just didn't want to have any cramping issues. So I quickly had that. From Ks 30 to 32, to hold on to the marathon pace was brutal. At the 32K point that I realized, yeah, I'm hitting the wall no matter what I tried. In a weird way, I'm kind of glad I did, because this is a learning experience for me, and this isn't going to be the first marathon that I prepare for. I'm hoping to do many more after this. So it's great learning, because if you've never hit the wall, you don't know what it feels like. So I definitely reflected a lot after that. So I hit the wall, and from the 32Ks to 42K was the most brutal thing I've ever had to do in my life. And at this point, I'm just randomly high-fiving people to kind of keep myself going. I'm just high-fiving, like, you know, the people next to me, the spectators, and it actually did help. Like, it was actually amping me up, but I couldn't hold on to that marathon pace anymore, so that's okay. Like, I kind of let that go. Ben Parks, you know, great YouTuber. You know, he always says, have your ABC goals. So, you know, your C goal should be just crossing the finish line. That's a victory in itself, because it definitely is. Your B goal is something a bit more realistic, you know, something you could achieve, and A, something challenging. And to me, you know, the challenging part made me a better runner for the day and made me a better runner throughout my prep. So I already knew that I wasn't going to hit my A goal around about the 32K mark, because I was just in a world of pain. But my B goal was becoming more realistic, and that was enough to kind of keep me going. So even though I couldn't hold on to my marathon pace, it was enough to keep pushing along. I had a bit of tape on my arm, which I wrote my wife's name and my kid's name. Okay, you know, they're giving me the strength right now and just keep going. And also high-fiving random spectators helped, and like, what a cool experience with them being there. Like, they had the best signs, and it was actually really funny. And I think smiling actually helps when you're in pain, because I don't know, psychologically, like, I don't know, you just forget that you're in pain for a moment, and then you kind of pick things up a little bit. Yeah, I definitely was in a world of pain, and every cave between 32 and the finish line just felt like an eternity. But I kept going, and I was receiving messages from my wife, and she's just said, you're almost there, keep pushing along. And it's such an amazing feeling, you know, having, you know, your loved ones support you and be there for you. I finally get to Optus Stadium, and my legs are so sore. I'm in absolute, like, a world of pain, but with every ounce of my being, I just gapped it. I went as fast as I possibly could to finish. The actual professional photos, I look so funny, like, I look so angry, hurt. I don't know, I don't really care. It's actually really funny, and it's because it's a lot of blood, sweat and tears to get to that finish line, and I was just really trying to push my way along, and that's it, you know, I finally crossed the finish line. Oh, before I crossed the finish line, I heard my wife scream my name. She said, "Go Costa!" And
Go Costa!
that was just, that's something I'm going to remember forever, is the fact that, you know, you do these things, and you know, it's nice to have the love, you know, the love and support of your family, and to hear her voice just as I'm crossing, like, about to cross the finish line, was awesome. I'll remember that forever. Across the finish line, and the first thing I do is just, I cover my face, and I just, like, burst into tears, because, you know, it's such an overwhelming feeling, you know, all the hours, all the time spent, it's just, it really is overwhelming, and you really only cross the finish line for your first marathon once. So I took it all in, I let out my emotions, and it was okay. You know, a lot of people experience the same thing, and I just thought, like, I did it, you know, I did it, and I can't believe it. And I crossed the finish line in 3 hours and 46 minutes, which I was actually wrapped with. I'm super proud. Like, sub 4 hours, my first marathon, I am, like, proud. Crossing the finish line, I'm so proud. So I can't wait till my next race. I'm in so much pain right now, but I can't wait to get, you know, like, start planning what am I going to do next, whether it's in Perth, maybe it's in Sydney, maybe it's international, who knows? I don't even know, but I'm definitely going to, you know, keep running, and hopefully, you know, inspire somebody, you know, who is thinking about getting into running. So that's my goal. I am so grateful that I finished the marathon, and that's it. That's all I got. So thank you. and I'll see you next time.